I didn't want, so that I don't crack it on the microphone, everybody hears it. We'll call this committee of the whole meeting to order on May 13th, 2025 at 6:05 p.m. Before we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, would like to do a moment of silence tonight for paramedic Kendall Smith. Kendall unexpectedly passed away May 5th at the age of 61. He worked for the Logan County Paramedics Association for over 11 years. He also worked for Hickory Point Fire Protection District as a paramedic, as well as served over 30 years with the Warrensburg Fire Protection District. If we could please have a moment of silence. Okay. First up this evening's public participation. Is there anybody that would like to speak under public participation? Okay, for the record, there is no public participation. We will start with the oath of office for Police Officer Nathaniel Brandt.
Please raise your right hand. Say aye.
I,
Your name,
Nathaniel Brandt,
and repeat after me. I've been appointed
have been appointed
to the office of patrolman
to the office of patrolman
in the city of Lincoln,
to the city of Lincoln,
county of Logan.
in the county of Logan.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
I'll support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the state of Illinois,
of the state of Illinois,
and I'll faithfully discharge the duties
and I'll faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of patrolman
of the office of patrolman
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations, sir.
Okay, next up is the oath of office for Police Officer Jonathan Carter.
Please raise your right hand. Say aye.
I,
Your name,
Jonathan Carter,
and repeat after me. I've been appointed
have been appointed
to the office of patrolman
to the office of patrolman,
in the city of Lincoln,
the city of Lincoln,
in the county of Logan.
in the county of Logan.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I'll support the Constitution
that I support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the state of Illinois,
of the state of Illinois.
and I'll faithfully discharge the duties
And I'll faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of patrolman
of the office of patrolman
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, sir.
Okay, next up is item number 5, tourism consultant contract. And before we get into the agenda item itself, I've asked Mr. McCoy to come, and he'd like to speak with the council for 5 or 10 minutes. So, Mr. McCoy, the floor is yours if you'd like to join us.
Thank you. Do you have one of the mics I could walk around with?
You want to walk around?
that all right?
Yeah.
not?
Do you, yeah, I mean,
Get the mics away?
yeah.
Oh, they're putting batteries in it. Okay. There
Yeah.
you go.
If you sit at the desk, the camera can pick you up and catch you the entire time.
Yeah, but nobody wants to see that. Thank you. Okay, most of you know me. Some of you may not, but I'm going to give you a free gift. This is not a bribe, even though it's money. But it is something that I want you to think about and imagine a little bit, if you will, of the possibilities
Thank you.
that are coming to this community. There you go. This community of Lincoln has so much potential. I'll let you guys pass these around so you can have some as well. Nothing like bribing the chief of police, right? And being somebody who has come from as an elected official in another community, I just want to point out that we have to separate our two chiefs too. So I think that's put somebody in the middle there to keep the peace. The city of Lincoln is exciting to me, and I think it's exciting to all of you because you not only have Route 66 here for tourism, but you have Lincoln himself. Those are two diamonds in the tourism industry to draw people. And you're at a new junction, a new start, if you will, of what can happen in this community. Some of you that are on the other boards, and we've talked about this, and you know, kind of changing the pace, changing the direction of where this can go. There are tens of thousands of people who are coming past this community, through this community, not only with Route 66 in Lincoln, but with your the races, with the fairs, and all, the balloons, and all those different things that happen. And you've already taken the first step to focusing and refocusing the ability of this community to draw those people in, get them to stay in the hotels, have them eat in the local restaurants and shop the local shops. Tourism is economic development. That's exactly what it is. It's a small portion of what economic development is for any community. And I've been part of it with a lot of different communities, and it's been successful in many different ways, especially on Route 66, which is essentially where I specialize in. And I am thrilled to my core that Lincoln, Illinois is ready to go on the map and make this thing happen. And I just want to say I appreciate that. Whether or not you do anything with me or not is irrelevant. Lincoln has the potential. I hope you harness it, grasp it, and we make this thing happen. So that's all I wanted to say, and I appreciate the few minutes. The penny you have there, what that represents, of course, is Lincoln, and it's got a Route 66 stamp within it. You are holding one of the most unique souvenirs that anybody could ever have. The United States government produces your souvenirs, if you think about it. And they only cost a penny. They cost them a little bit more, but they only cost you a penny. And everybody in this United States, everybody traveling, all the foreign travelers that come over, they already have a souvenir that represents your community in their pocket right now. So we need to, I think, take advantage of that. Just something to think about. Imagine what it could be. Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, has everybody had an opportunity to look at the proposed consultant agreement with Mr. McCoy? Okay. Now, I will point out that there were some suggestions that were made by the city attorney and Mr. Hoblet, the last remaining one was item 20.1. And I spoke with Mr. McCoy before the meeting, and he is amenable to your suggestion. So other than that, do you have any recommendations to the council on the agreement? Okay. Is it okay if we place this on the regular agenda for next week? Or do we want to talk a little bit about it? I guess that'd probably be a good idea, right? So the contract that's before you, and for those who are watching, it's a consultant agreement. And as Mr. McCoy stated, I believe he spoke with many of you. If not, I'm sure he would love to have a conversation with you. He's been working with the Tourism Bureau on a number of issues, and they've got some grants they've got, some attractions they're purchasing, things of that nature. And now that the council has taken the step to take the hotel motel tax and then begin a tourism department underneath the city of Lincoln, it seems appropriate that we would bring somebody in who has knowledge and expertise about Route 66. So as he just showed you, he does have a knowledge of Route 66. He has experience in both Atlanta and Pontiac, and if you've seen their programs, we've seen how successful they can be. So this contract is a auto renewing contract. It's got a lot of language in it. I encourage everybody to go read it before next week. But the proposed amount in here is $45,000 per year. It does give us an opportunity that if either party along the way decides that it's just not working out, we do have an opportunity to end the agreement and then go our separate ways. So I think we covered most of our basis in this agreement. Any questions about the agreement or anything to add? Mr. Anderson?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. McCoy, I'd like to ask about, I'm looking under item 7 here, reimbursement of expenses, and it says that there's pre-approval by the client is not required for expenses totaling $200 or less in a calendar month. Based on your experience, what kind of futuristic expenses could we be looking at?
Primarily, that will handle things like if we have somebody in town that we're trying to work with and we have a dinner, something like that, covers those general small expenses. So it's really not a purchase of anything, of equipment or any of that.
So based on that, will there also be some requests later on for higher dollar expenses to be approved, higher than 200?
Absolutely, yes.
What would those be?
It's going to range from all kinds of different ideas. So I mean, you're looking at, possibly purchasing, let's say, a trolley or a vehicle to give tours, to office equipment or something that may need to happen here, to pretty much anything, a building, souvenirs, all those type of things are in there. That particular expense point is the general operating expenses. So for an example, if I have a gentleman come in from Louisiana or Arkansas or something, and he's looking to do something here in town with tourism with us, I buy him a dinner when he comes up. Maybe a hotel room, that type of a thing, but they're those little expenses. Quite honestly, the budgets that I have for that, a community will usually give me a budget, say $5,000 a year, and that's just kind of the roundabout budget for it. I rarely use all of it. It's just there to keep from having to come here and bug you guys, when I need to wine and dine somebody or something for that purpose.
Yeah. So, and I'll jump into some of the, Stan, I think some of your questions too are, he's going to be heavily involved in marketing. So he's going to have to put a marketing strategy together. But any of these expenses that will be incurred under that department will come before this council. He won't spend any money. Actually, there's no language that even gives him the ability to spend even what our department heads get at this time. If the council approves this agreement, the next step would be for us to sit down and put together a budget for this new department, bring it back to the council and get your buy-in. I think there's probably going to have to be some discussion and appropriations later, since we already passed our budget, and this will be kind of new to us. So this is one step in several to follow to stand this up.
Yeah, and that portion would be under the budget. So whatever that amount would be. But yeah.
I do have one other question.
Sure.
Is there going to be some type of a status report that's given, whether it be on a monthly basis through an email or council visits or something, just so that we know what kind of progress is going on?
Absolutely. So status reports are very important because this is the body that makes those big decisions as we move forward with new ideas and statistics and ROI, return on investment. So it's up to you how often you'd like that. I can do it monthly. I usually do it quarterly with the municipality just because, some months are pretty slow in the winter. But yeah, definitely. I share all of that. Sometimes I overshare. You'll get a lot of information from me.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Alderman Parrott.
So underneath tourism development, if there's any grant opportunities that come out from federal, state, or whatever, that's part of that too?
Correct. Yes. Yep. Grants would be covered and any other additional monies that maybe from the state or something. Yep.
Any other questions for Mr. McCoy? Okay. So can we place this on the regular agenda? Okay. Place item number 5 on the regular agenda. Okay, next up is item number 6, request a permit, Lincoln Community High School Homecoming Parade, Friday, September 19th, 2025. Ms. Bateman? Anything to add on this one? I know you have the request.
No, it's the same as always. Just a homecoming parade for the high school, and that's about it.
Place this on the regular consent agenda.
Possibly.
Will people participate?
Possibly.
Yeah, okay. All right, we'll place that item on the consent agenda. Okay, next item up is the mayoral reappointment of department heads. I can tell you that I continue to be satisfied with the work that our department heads at the back of the room are doing. I have no recommendations for changes at this time, and so I'd like to bring all of the department heads back forward for reappointment to their current positions. Any feedback from the council or comments? Okay, so can we place this on the regular agenda as well? Okay, for the record, there will be 4 separate items added to the agenda, 1 for each of the department heads. Okay? Anything else on that? Good. Okay. Next up is the purchase of a new large bucket truck. Mr. Landers?
Yes, last summer during a routine inspection of our large bucket truck, which is a 2002 C7500 with a Terex lift on it, there was issues found with the boom and in the boom gear. Looking at just word of mouth estimates from the company to do the repairs, I heard $30,000, $50,000, $80,000 to fix the truck. So the repairs will exceed the value of the truck. So what I'm asking is to give the council to give me the authority to spend up to $120,000 on a new bucket truck, a new larger bucket truck to replace that one. And this stems from the last purchase of a bucket truck that we had. We bought a smaller truck a few years back, and it was a used truck. I had a truck picked out, went and looked at it up in northern Illinois, and then they sold it out from under us. So by the time we were ready, by the time we went through the meeting cycles, then the truck was already gone. So therefore, we had to look for another truck and go through that. And that's why I'm asking the council give me the authority to spend up to $120,000 for a newer truck.
Alderman Parrott?
How high of a bucket will it go?
Actually, we're looking for a different type of truck, what they call a rear mount, and we're looking at a 75-foot working height, which exceeds the one we have by about 20 feet, I believe.
And you anticipate using it mostly for like tree limbs and?
Yeah, it's basic purpose. We routinely run into trees that are taller than what we had. And, sometimes we'd have to get professional help from people with bigger trucks to handle those trees. But this would give us a little more reach and allow us to do some of those taller trees also. And I'm confident that we can probably find one for less than that. But I just wanted to hit the upper limit where, if we do find the right truck, that we could be able to purchase it.
And you say new, you mean
Newer.
newer. Okay.
I would be looking for something 2015 or newer, probably. That's kind of my goal. And
Alderman-
I've been doing the research, for several months, looking at different places and things. And there's a lot of equipment out there. It's just finding the right match and hopefully find something closer. This truck itself was bought at Schmitty's over in Clinton. So, once we start looking at the inventory that they have, hopefully we can find something local or fairly local anyways.
Alderman Bateman.
Does the city also own a smaller 1-ton,
Yes.
to use around
That's one we use basically for
light bulbs and?
light bulbs, stuff, and we can use it on smaller trees. It reaches enough to where we can use it for smaller trees and tree trimming.
And that one's still in pretty good shape?
Yeah, that's the one we just replaced a few years ago. It's a 2016 truck.
Alderman Anderson.
Walt, these trucks that you're looking at, the buckets, have they been inspected or will they be inspected?
They will
prior to
be.
Making a purchase?
Technically, you have to have an annual inspection of the lift itself, and then plus if it's a dielectric unit, which is basically a step for safety around electricity, things like that. Those two inspections should be done annually.
Very good, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Landers? Okay. Place this on the regular agenda. Okay. Place item number 8 on the regular agenda. Next up is item number 9, appointment of Evelyn Aiken to the Police Records and Property Clerk. Chief Meister.
Thank you, Mayor. As indicated in my my memo to the council, we typically have 2 full-time administrative assistants at the police department. Since March 1st, we've been operating with only 1. In preparation of moving a current existing employee into the assistant to the chief position, I sought candidates for the records clerk and property clerk position. It is a critical position to the police department. Definitely a full-time job, doing all the responsibilities of that assignment. Like I stated in the memo, talking about FOIA officer responsibilities, NIBRS entry, which is a national incident-based reporting system that we report all our crime through, doing redactions for FOIA responses, all sorts of communication between state's attorneys, city attorney, you name it, as well as sex offender registrations and violent offender registrations. That civilian position relieves a certified police officer from having to perform all those functions and taking them off the street that entire time. So in seeking these candidates, we came up with 7. 1 withdrew, leaving us with 6 total candidates. We reviewed their application and resume and selected the top 3 out of that 6. Mrs. Aiken came out on top, I guess, if you would say it that way. She definitely impressed the most. She seemed to be the most compatible with the other administrative staff, and it is my recommendation that we fill the position of records and property clerk with her.
Questions for the chief? Okay. Place this item on the regular agenda. Okay, we'll place item number 9 on the regular agenda. The next one is Chief Meister also. It's item number 10, appointment of Kirsten Rollins to the position of Administrative Assistant to the Police Chief. Chief?
Thank you. Our current records and property clerk accepted the responsibilities of doing both that job, digital forensic analysis, and then also take on the role of my assistant during the period of time that position was unfilled. She did so without any compensation at the time, and she's done a fantastic job in that role. I'm learning new things about her even today, although I've worked with her for 7 years now. did some pretty fancy stuff with our Dare golf outing flyers, and did some really nice work. So it is my recommendation to appoint her into the position of assistant to the chief of police in a permanent role, and also to compensate her retroactively back to April 1st, when that position was actually vacant after the retirement of my former assistant.
Any questions for Chief Meister? Okay, place this item on the regular agenda as well. Okay, place item number 10 on the regular agenda. Thanks, Chief. Okay, next item is recommendation, item number 11, recommendation of amendment to ordinances 1-23-3 and 1-25-3. Chief.
Thank you. Taking up all your time tonight, it seems. So, in reviewing the ordinances that create the positions for the civilian staff that work for the police department, I found that there's a little bit of a discrepancy in the term of office for administrative employees at all city offices. It seems the language to me, and John, please feel free to jump in at any point in time, limits the term of that employee to the term of the mayor. That means to me, when I read it, that upon a new mayor being elected, or if a mayor leaves office midterm, anytime the mayor is replaced or his term expires, his or her term expires, that employee's job could potentially be in jeopardy. And in the administrative assistant to the city as a whole and to the mayor's office, that language regarding the term reads, it exists in perpetuity unless the administrative assistant resigns from office or is removed by the city council by a majority vote of all members authorized by law. I think that language offers an employee a little bit more job stability, a little comfort in knowing that their job may not be at risk just because a term, an elected official's term has expired or they didn't seek re-election. So my suggestion is that, and again, I'm only speaking for the employees that I have, but that their term of office reads the same as the administrative assistant to the city and the mayor. It's a simple change of language in the ordinance. I think it would take less than a few minutes to provide a little stability for those folks.
Yeah, and I will say that the chief and I have had multiple conversations about this in the past and present, and I agree with him on this matter. Alderman Bateman?
Is this the same language for all non-union employees? I mean, we got street and alley employees, city clerk employees.
It is not. It only addresses these positions right now. We would have to come back and have another conversation about them as well, which we have talked about that as well.
But well, that's what I'm saying. Can we change, if the language needs changed in the other ones, can we just change the language in the other ones and put it all on a voting session?
Yeah, I mean,
I think
Go ahead.
we need to go with this one now and then
Yeah.
bring the others up in another cow.
Next cow?
Yeah, let's just not.
it's because
Rushing through.
these two positions obviously are on the agenda. He's in the process of filling these positions right now, which is why this came up. But it is at least my intention, and I think Ms. Bateman supports me, is to bring the other positions forward as well. And I think Mr. Woodhull, Mr. Landers for the positions under them.
So can John work on that so it's on the next cow?
If you'd like to bring them all forward, it's, if that's the will of the council.
Yeah,
I would
think
support that
they
as
need-
well.
They need protection sooner than later. you know.
Probably the only time that I'm going to agree with Mr. Bateman out loud.
It seems like that
Miss-
side of the room is always like that.
Miss, just, I'll refrain. Mr. Hoblet.
I was just wondering if you guys reviewed my email that I sent the last week regarding state statutes?
I reviewed it. I gotta be honest with you, I wasn't sure if there was a question in it or if you were just updating us. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, you can repeat it for the sake of the council knowing as well.
okay.
I felt like you were educating us. I didn't know that you needed direction from us.
Well, in essence, I know we changed the code in the past to be reflective, say of a council vote, and you guys can do that. That's clear within your purview to do as such. There is state statute that says otherwise. For example, if there's no state statute says that if there's no term limit on when you say for somebody who's an employee, they can be removed at any time by the mayor, and then at that point in time thereafter, the mayor has to have a stated reason as to why, and then the council via 2/3 vote can overturn the mayor and reinstate that employee, and that employee can never be terminated again for that reason. If the mayor does not provide a reason for termination, then the employee is automatically reinstated. And furthermore, it concludes that if there is no term limit, if it doesn't fall with the mayor, if it's just in perpetuity, then the mayor can terminate them for any reason, and they don't have to cite a reason, and there's no recourse. So I'm just saying, if you want to change the code with the idea being that the council will read the code in the future and therefore adhere to it, that's all fine and dandy. But if the future mayor asked me and said, John, which one trumps the other, I would have to say the state statute.
I think the idea here was that when we were having conversations about these positions and in the past, it seems a little odd that the mayor has so much control over positions in the police department. The mayor, not me, just the mayor, doesn't work with those people. We don't know what they do on a day in, day out. So it seems a little backwards that the mayor would have so much control that they could come in and disrupt the police department or the code enforcement department or the clerk's department, for that matter. And this is really just trying to give those departments and those department heads a little bit more involvement in the people that work for them. Mr. Bateman and then Mr. Hoblet and then Mr. Parrott.
I would like to change the code because that's what we look at first. Yes, there is a state statute, but then that puts all the pressure on the mayor to bring up the state statute on why they want to get rid of this person. Where if it's in the code, that's how we run the city, is by city code. Granted, Mr. Hoblet unfortunately is right that the mayor can go the state statute way, but then that's 8 of us looking at him going, why? Where if it's in the code, we all vote on it, it's in the code, that's the employee. The employee's going to look at the code more than they're going to look at a state statute.
Mr. Parrott and then Mr. Hoblet.
I think to your point, Mayor Welch, is if a mayor comes in and decides to go in a different direction for a department head, then that gives that department head opportunity to choose the individual. I don't think it's necessarily the mayor that is causing a change at an administrative assistant or an administrative level, but it would be the department head knowing the individual that they may want to work for them because that's the person they want, just like you would want a particular person for a department head. I'm not saying we don't codify this or whatever. I'm just saying I think that's probably the reason.
The intent. Yep. Mr. Hoblet.
Thank you, Mayor. I believe there's definitely some wisdom to what Mr. Bateman is saying. That being in the code, the first thing in the code.
Don't get carried away, Mr. Bateman.
But I'll state that if I had to look as to the intent of the legislature, I'm happy to agree with Mr. Parrott that every now and then you'll see an individual who runs, on the platform of cleaning house, so to speak, and that's usually department heads, whatnot. And I guess the legislature doesn't want to deprive said person or the electorate that would elect that person their opportunity or their chance to do that, given the fact that they are, again, appointed. And I think that's why I also believe that they have built in certain exemptions. And let's say for one, like they made it a little bit more difficult to remove a fire chief and a police chief, because those have to be done by joint decision of the mayor and the city council. They can't just do just the mayor, just lead off with the mayor. Because if the mayor just terminates a police chief or a fire chief, that could, with the idea that we're going to hear it, whether or not they're going to be reinstated to the next city council, there could be a fire, there could be some various, police issues that need to be sorted out between then, some emergencies, and there would be chaos. So I think that's why they've built in certain metrics to prevent that. So,
Ms. O'Donohue?
My only thought of it is if somebody does come in and decide that they want to clean house, do you really want to take Chief Meister out and take out Chief Meister's assistant, two people who know what's going on from the day-to-day activity? I mean, it seems like that would be the most absurd thing, to take people who know what's going on, take, Chief Johnson out and take out his assistant. Then nobody knows what's going on from day to day, and it's kind of like starting all over from day one. I mean, I think even though she may not want to work for a different chief, she still has a job and she still knows what's going on, and she's still an asset to the new chief. So I think just for that purpose, we need to protect their jobs also.
Mr. Parrott?
Yeah, and I don't think it's the counselor or the mayor who would appoint a new department head that would also remove the assistant, but it would be the new department head that would remove the assistant for whatever reason. I mean, it wouldn't be us and it wouldn't be the mayor. It would be this department head that would say, this is the individual that I want. Or if it was kind of a bad breakup, for the new department head, and there was loyalty from the assistant, I'm just imagining this is why they have this in state statute, that, if that person's kind of sabotaging them, you can get rid of them because they want somebody in there that they can trust and depend on. I'm not saying we don't do this. I'm just saying I think that might be part of the reasoning.
So then do we need to change the language to at least remove the mayor and reference the appointed position? Because right now it says, the term of office of the administrative assistant to the chief of police shall not be shorter than for 1 year nor longer than the term of the mayor appointing the administrative assistant to the chief of police.
Yeah, I just don't think we cleaned this up when we cleaned up the department head pieces, when we made that change to the council. We didn't clean this other stuff up.
Right.
So I
Probably.
do have, go ahead.
as I understand, was that, remind me, please, when we said when we changed it to department heads, like say choosing their employees or whatnot, did we change that in the code, or we just kind of said that this is the way we're going to do it?
I think Peggy hasn't had any changes to hers, because you chose some of your staff, correct?
Yeah, but I thought the code on mine said that incoming clerk can
I'd have to go back and look. I'm
would
not
just
sure.
be a cutthroat if anybody would clean house.
Right, and I mean, I just presume that that the legislature didn't want to deprive, like say, if the electorate, like say, of a city, has had it, with their city leadership, and they want to change. They want to make sure that opportunity goes through. Guys, we could implement, this into the code. I've seen plenty of scenarios, where you implement something like this into the code, and just by the mere fact of it being the code, people will adhere to it. Okay, I'm just saying, if there's somebody who's pretty gung ho, that comes in and says, I want to do this other thing, and I'm like, you're perfectly within your right to do it, and just that could be 20 years from now, and the people will be very confused. I'm not going to be here. Maybe, and it's gonna be a bit confusing, as to what's going to be the course, and who knows, maybe state laws will change at that period of time to reflect some more protections. I do not know, but it's well within your course. I'm just telling you what the law states, and state statutes do trump city code. So
Chief Meister.
So with that being said, it'd be my recommendation to change some language regarding the term of office. Again, I like the idea that the term exists in perpetuity, but the second sentence in the current language for the appointed positions in the police department reads, the administrative assistant to the chief of police may resign from office or be removed therefrom only in such a manner as provided by the statutes of the state pertaining to the resignation or removal of appointed officers. If we left that language, leave it alone as it remains, but change the term of office, the sentence before that, the term of office of the administrative assistant to the chief of police shall exist in perpetuity, and then after that, leave in the language regarding removal as provided in the statutes of the state. Would that be acceptable? And
yes, I do believe so. Yeah, I believe that. I believe what you're kind of getting at there is that there is a you're kind of saying that it exists in perpetuity, but you're not saying what the state statute is, but you're also saying you're adhering by the state statute.
yeah, I'm just suggesting that it isn't limited to the term of a mayor or not shorter than 1 year. That's my big issue with it.
Council okay with that? Concern? Okay. So, Mr. Hoblet, will you make that change?
I certainly will.
Okay. Does the council also wish to instruct Mr. Hoblet to address the other positions or at least review them prior to next week? Okay.
Did you say prior to next week or to the next cow?
Be prior
Well,
to next week, next cow.
You want to do it the next cow?
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't want to derail these two because they're positions we're trying to get filled.
No, just the next cow is fine.
Okay, next cow then. All right, we'll place item number 11 on the regular agenda with the proposed language change. Okay, thank you.
Did the fire department, we didn't hire someone.
No.
No, we did not hire anyone. Ashley Metelko has taken over some responsibilities.
Can we add language to the fire department in case he does hire somebody in the future, so we're not coming back again? Like if the fire department hires a administrative assistant, the
Can we
same
bring-
language?
Can we talk about that and bring it back at the next cow?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's fine. I'm just trying to cover it so if they do hire somebody, that person falls under the same purview.
Well, but I will say this. There's no position currently in the code to support the fire department. So I don't know how you would put that in there because this language that is being proposed for these two positions in the police department, it's actually codified. You would have to actually create positions by code to be able to set that. So I think we'll address that whenever I would recommend we address it if and when that time comes. Okay. I mean, it's a good thought, but kind of cart before the horse. So, okay. All right, moving down to item number 12, approval of ground mount solar array at 203 Madigan Drive. Mr. Woodhull.
Thank you, Mayor. So we met with regards to this property. It's El Maz. It's right behind El Maz is where they're wanting to put their array. I put the schematic there in your packet. So one thing I kind of misspoke or miswrote in here is that the committee recommends the array be allowed as designed. What we decided that night was that because of where the building is and the array and the visual aspects to it, surrounded by nothing that really anybody can actually see them, that the safety fence that was the ball field that was once there, but the fencing, to make sure that fencing was lockable, there was gates, there wasn't any protrusions through that people could get in, and that would suffice for the security of the array. However, when I went and looked at it, that fence has largely been removed. In anticipation for this, their design was to do the 12-foot fence per code. So that's actually why I put that in there. And like I said, that was a misspeak on regards to what we talked about in that meeting. So the way they have it designed right now is a 12-foot fence with a mesh cloth covering for the visual. I did put in there, and we've had these discussions before, and I'm sure it'll come up again, the cost difference with regards to them having to go from the 8 to the 12-foot fence is substantial. It equates to about 20% of the overall project. So either now or in the future, I'd like to keep that in mind just when we're discussing these issues. So right now, this is the only one that is of any conversation piece.
Ms. O'Donohue and then Mr. Barrett.
So it's not necessary that there's a 12-foot fence. We can go back to allowing them an 8-foot fence to cut down with the $35,000?
I suppose yes, because now, unless I'm mistaken, the way we've left it after many draft amendments was that committee makes a recommendation to y'all to, if this thing was whatever, it was already inside of a fence, are we going to make them put another? The subjectivity to it. So in this case, like the 12-foot fence, and we've had this
Any
discussion
fence left
before.
at all? Did they take down all of the fencing, or is there
Not
any
all of
fencing
it. The
left?
backstop is still there. They're working. It's actually in progress, so that was unbeknownst to me. But then when I went and looked at it, I was like, "Oh crap! The fence that we spoke about yesterday is not there." Then when I talked to them, they had already decided this route. When you get into the 12-foot fence, for instance, on the south side, which these are non-tilting, so when you get into that south side facing, that fence actually has to be, I think he said 28 foot further, or off that last array, because of the height of it shades it, which negates the actual need for the panel. So 8-foot fence, obviously, you're gaining 4 foot of vertical and then the shading, so.
So I guess back to my original question, is it too late for them to
No,
the
absolutely
8-foot
not.
fence
They're
as
not.
opposed
They're
to a
not going to do
12-foot
anything
fence?
until it's approved, regardless. They've submitted for permit, but that's where it stopped because of this meeting.
Yeah, because I was just out there yesterday, and I did notice that the posts are still there, but the chain link, the fencing itself
No,
is.
it's rolled up on the southeast corner
I
behind.
mean,
it.
with as far back as it sits, it's not on a main road. It's not, you can't see it from the main road. It's covered by the banquet center. I mean, and I don't see why an 8-foot fence wouldn't be.
Yeah, and I
be
think
high
again
enough.
that's where
Yes.
that committee group and then this conversation.
I mean, Elmaz is a small business. $35,000 is a pretty hefty amount for a small business.
Yeah, and that does equate to 20% of the project
Correct.
cost.
Okay. Alderman Parrott and then Alderman Bateman.
So can I have just a little refresher on our code on this? Is it that the mandatory 12-foot, or at least the height of the solar panel itself at its height, and then on the recommendation? Because I thought we had a gentleman come here and was asking us to reconsider what
He
we had
was the-
voted on.
That was the developer of this project,
Right.
Of several of them.
But we didn't change anything from our code.
I don't know, to be honest. This
I believe it was no higher than 12 feet, and the fence had to match the height of the array.
That's correct. And I don't know
And-
that was,
Yeah.
codified. I don't know that it was ever actually changed, because I'm on draft 4 now of the Second Amendment, and that's when we left it some time ago. So, but yes, if you wanted the panel 8 foot tall, that was your design, the fence has to be 8 foot tall. If you want the panel 6 foot tall, you can have a 10-foot fence if you want. You know what I mean? It has to be as tall as the panel, but no higher than 12 foot for either of them. That's how it's currently drafted.
Yeah, and I believe in conversations while I was in that meeting, the intent of the recommendation that's before the council is to consider allowing an 8-foot fence. The code may state that, but I believe the council would be within their authority, and I think the attorney would have to weigh in on it to allow that exception. And perhaps that's something that could, and Mr. Anderson was in there as well, I believe that that's something that we could go back and have a conversation about to say, does it make sense? Because really one size don't fit all. Where they're proposing this out there, it's a big open field. There's nothing around it. Whereas behind the bank, the previous project, it had more restrictions and other things to take into consideration. So for what it's worth, that's the recommendation before the council, for them to decide what they would like to do or not. Anything else, Mr. Mr. Parent?
No, I just was speaking with someone that was working on this project here too, and it could be a 12-foot fence would be more of an eyesore than an 8-foot fence, perhaps. I'm not for sure. They were going to try to provide some visual pictures of that, but I never got them. I don't know if anybody else did, but yeah, it's something maybe the council could look at.
Alderman Bateman.
So, they're 12-foot arrays, 8-foot fence. I'm assuming the mesh that's mentioned is only going to be on that east side fence that's directly behind the restaurant?
From what
rest of
from the
just
conversation I
chain link?
had, it was going to be the whole fence,
Well,
which isn't.
I'm okay with
like you said,
just
necessary.
just the east side fence being the mesh, because that's all you're going to see from the restaurant in the parking lot is the east side fence.
And probably in the north. I mean, coming in, say, from the banquet center. You know, if you're coming in from that northeast corner of the parking lot, I suppose. If it's a perfect square like it is in the picture.
Mr. Anderson.
During our meeting that we had in regards to this, I think it was brought up that there's, and I know, Wes, that you guys are on version 4 or 5, whatever it is, of writing this. The question is, has this ever been codified? And was it approved and was it codified?
We did one. The original one I wrote was just over a year ago, and it's city code.
Okay.
Since then, kind of.
It's had revisions since then.
I believe there was
And,
one recently passed by council.
Okay, that's the question I had.
And I honestly,
Within
I
the
don't
past
know what amendment it is.
2 months, I believe.
Okay.
Because I remember because Mr. Woodhull wasn't here that evening. I think you had a family engagement
Okay.
you were attending.
I think after reviewing, and Wes sent me that the final draft, I guess, version
I think
4 or
I put
5,
final
whatever it
on
is.
that, but that was
Yeah.
probably mistaken.
Then maybe we still need to spend a little bit of time looking at that for the future to take in consideration what's the best for the community and the public. I know there's some opinions that can get involved in trying to make some decisions, but you know, when we're looking at this proposal right here, I know that I believe the permit was, or the request is for the 12-foot fence on this, but I think that if we can do some justice to the business and save the business $35,000 roughly, and stick with an 8-foot fence, and everyone still be accommodating to that and feel comfortable with that, and take a look at how these are going to be played out in the future. You know, I don't want to spend a lot of time debating these each and every time that we have one, but solar is here. It's not going to leave, and I guess, you know, we could capitalize on it and maybe help attract new businesses to Lincoln and this area by showing that we are supportive of this. Not saying that we're opening it up and letting them do whatever they want, but let's take a look at that. And Wes, I'm sorry, but we may need to work on another, you know, revision of
Well,
this.
like I said, putting final behind it was probably stupid on my part. So.
No, that's fine.
Mr. Bateman.
So the council voted on it, and I know I'm the one that brought it forward, but the compromise was made that we actually formed a committee so that this ordinance has an actual draft, but is also fluid based on the committee's recommendations and what's needed for the best for the citizens. I know it's a little bit of work, but I think this is a perfect example of, you know, where the bank was. There was a lot of opposition from the citizens that I talked to about what it was going to look like, and that's what brought up the whole code thing. But where this one is, it's a different situation, and that's why I like the fluidity of the committee getting together, working with the business, bringing forth some recommendations. Then it's an 8-council vote. It either passes or it fails. I'm okay with the 8-foot fence as long as the area behind the restaurant, they use the opaque fence, so you're not just staring at solar panels like what's behind Illini Bank. So you know, if it came to a vote, I would be in favor of the 8-foot reduction, as long as I at least would like to see the east side be an opaque type fencing to where you're not just staring straight at solar panels.
Any other thoughts? Mr. Clemens?
Do we have ordinance on the type of fence? Because the one at Dollar General, that's chicken
Well-
wire.
Yeah, I believe that the ordinance has specifics in it regarding the type of fencing. Keep in mind, some of the other arrays that are up around town, they were put up before we actually made these changes to our ordinance recently. So they may be varied a little bit. But Mr. Woodall, there is specifics about the fencing type and the
I don't know
opaque.
what you mean by type. Definitely
chain
the
link,
opaque. Definitely the
stuff like
opaque. Well, the
Or does
opaque
it
can
just
be
specify
chain
that?
link. It can be chain link with slats. You know, it can be a shadow box type. It could be a vinyl solid. It could be wood solid. You know, opaque is the definition of it. So
Yeah.
I know like that fence right there. Part of that fence was because of the seating they used under the arrays, which was one of the Pheasants Forever or Quails Forever, one of those organizations for natural habitat and butterflies and bees and that sort of thing. But they also had to allow the fencing to be a certain size, yes, for animals to get through, and not that they can't get through a chain link fence, but that was part of the deal with it was like USDA or something. So that's where that fencing came from. That specific one. So
Clemens, to answer your question, that Dollar General is what started the entire solar conversation, because at that point the city had nothing in writing about solar. West did nothing wrong. He did it by the book, permitted. There was no specifics on height, type of fence, blah, blah, blah. That's what started this whole process moving forward. But again, I like the fluidity of it, that a committee gets together, discusses it to bring it forward, to bring each aspect to the council to decide.
Mr. Clemens, Dennis, can you pull your mic down?
They shouldn't even been approved. I mean, it's like there's no fence there at all, really.
Right, it's rabbit friendly.
But I didn't know if we had an ordinance now, or I know we did from what we just voted on, but I didn't know if there was an ordinance for that before.
No.
Okay. That was my question. Thanks.
Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, just for the clarity, I know that we understand it, but for the listeners out there, refer to it as the Dollar General. That's not theirs. That's the property close by. We want to attract new businesses, and if Dollar General wants to put number 3 in, that's great. So, I think it would be best if we refer to it as a Limit Street. But I just want to make sure that we have clarity on that.
Okay. So place item number 12 on the regular agenda. Ms. O'Donohue,
So are we placing it on the regular agenda with a 12-foot fence, an 8-foot fence, or?
the recommendation is
Well,
an 8-foot fence.
yeah, to be clear, they would prefer the 8-foot fence, absolutely, because there's a massive cost savings. They designed it with the 12 because they're ready to get in the ground now, and if they had to bite the bullet and spend that extra money, they just had to do it. Of course, they were asking for the reduction, so that's just part of the permitting process.
So it'll go on with an 8-foot fence.
That was the recommendation of the commission, correct?
Yes, recommendation would be an 8-foot fence, and during the meeting there, we talked about it being the opaque fence. After listening to several conversations today and such, I think that maybe that could be adjusted to the east side and potentially the north side too, only, and there would be some cost savings to them in that, as long as the council was okay with that. So.
Any concerns? Okay, so we'll place that on with an 8-foot fence and fencing on the north and east and north side. Yep. Okay, Mr. Hoblet.
Is this also a matter that's going to be coming before the next cow for changes again to our solar code?
Not at this time.
Not this time? Okay.
And the committee can actually have a conversation if they would like. And for the record, I know I sent the council an email on this in anticipation of this meeting tonight, but I did form a committee, and I referred to it as the Energy Committee, because we're going to have a conversation tonight about the strategic plan. There will be some committees that come out of some of those discussions. I don't know what the future of this committee is, but I needed to get it together, that committee, so that we could have this conversation, because this application's been pending for a while. And for the record, on that committee is Alderman Anderson, Mr. Woodhull, Robert Combs, and myself. That could change. It could be considered temporary in nature, but I will state there's at least 3 people on that committee, so we are covered by code. Mr. Bateman.
I would suggest you, on Mr. Anderson's name, have it Mr. Anderson or an alternate in case he can't attend and it's a time-sensitive type. I would like at least one council member sitting in that meeting.
He is a council member.
No, I meant, if it's time-sensitive, the people have to, it has to go in front of a cow and he can't make that committee meeting.
So you want 2 council members on there?
An alternate, a backup.
I suppose we can do that. We don't do that with any other committee. But why don't I just add a second council member? Because that,
Either way, because some of these are time-sensitive. That's what I'm saying. You know, if.
we'll talk about it. I will say, the reason why I say this is because Ms. Bateman can tell you that managing our committees and the people on them, and Mr. Woodhull knows this as well, it is a challenging task, because quite honestly, we're very grateful for the people that we have that sit on these committees, but it's hard to get volunteers that want to commit their time. And so that's why none of the other ones have backups on them. If we run into an issue where we need to do that, we can do that. I just don't know that we wouldn't be able to accommodate somebody's schedule. We're pretty flexible on scheduling things. Not a bad idea. Okay. Okay. All right, sounds good. No, I mean, that's the idea, is that send out a request. This isn't the only committee we do it with. We actually were doing it today with economic development, is that not everybody can meet on this coming Friday. So Ms. Metelko sent out an email to everybody and said, hey, Friday is not good. Can we push it to the 30th? So we're pretty fluid, I guess, using your word. We're pretty fluid when it comes to scheduling appointments. So we'll accommodate. Okay, we'll place that item on the regular agenda. Next up is item number 13, Lincoln Park District fireworks display donation. Ms. Bateman can elaborate if she'd like, but we did receive a request from the Park District. We receive this every year. And before you, I believe it's in the packet, correct? Yep. Is the annual sponsorship of the fireworks display at the Lincoln Park District. We've traditionally done this, but would request council approval to do it again this year. Mr. Parrott?
Yes, would this come out of the tourism budget?
Special projects and events. Because when we put the budget together, we had this special projects line item in there. At the time, the decision with tourism had not been made yet.
So then going forward, would you recommend then just putting it on a tourism or special project, or?
I think it might be a stretch with tourism, but we could certainly do
it
that.
like a third Friday type of event.
Yeah, Mr. Gonzo.
It's one a year.
I don't think you're too far off, Mr. Gonzo.
I think Alderman Parrott's correct. I think it could be paid for out of hotel motel tax, but keep in mind at this point that balance in that account would not accommodate too many expenditures, and we would have to wait until we can build up greater balance in there again. But certainly in the years ahead, this would certainly be a valid consideration to pay it out of that fund.
Is this the dollar amount we gave last year?
Yes.
And it's made payable to the fireworks display people. It's not paid directly to the park district.
Any concerns with this? Okay, can we place this on the regular agenda? Okay. Place item number 13 on the regular agenda. Next up is item number 14, the 2025-2026 MFT Maintenance Program Resolution. Mr. Landers?
Yes, so basically, the resolution is what gives us the authority to spend our motor fuel tax money. And basically, you can look at it kind of like a budget for our MFT money. So it covers many different things. It covers labor, supplies. And this year, it's covering some resurfacing work, but it's all itemized, and then that goes to IDOT after it's signed. They approve it, and then that allows us to spend that money throughout the year from the MFT account. If you look at it, if you compare it to last year, we're up about 30%, but there's good reason for that. Of course, we have our contractual raises, which was 4%, because it also pays labor when we have employees doing MFT work, patching, plowing snow, things like that. The rental schedule, it gets adjusted. Basically, each piece of equipment we have that gets used for an MFT job or a motor fuel tax operation, there's a tax rate on it. So we also get paid back that hourly rate for that machine. And then we had an increase in our salt, 'cause over the past few years, we've had a surplus of salt, and we finally dwindled that down. The last couple of years, we've only gotten 200 tons of salt a year. So this coming year, we've got it dwindled down pretty good, but we're gonna be looking at about 500 tons. So there was another increase to it. And then we also are gonna use part of the MFT to run an oil and chip project this summer. So that was another portion that increased. And then we had added a line for CA6 rock for alley reconstruction. So that was a totally new line. So that basically is where the increases came from. Last year, our resolutions was for $610,952.60. And this year it went to 900,000. Where's that here? 900,000 and 902,042.88. Big numbers make me nervous. So, but that was the increase, which is just a little over 30%. So, but the reasons I listed are the reasons why it went up. So, if there's any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Landers? Mr. Anderson?
Walt, I hope your predictions of needing to use 500 tons of salt in the winter is off.
Well, I would rather have it than not have it. How does that sound?
I understand, but
I sure don't want to run out.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Landers? Place this on the regular agenda? Okay, place item number 14 on the regular agenda. Okay, that brings us down to item number 15, 5-year strategic plan. Alderwoman O'Donohue and Alderman Sanders, this is your topic, so I'll let either of you start. You get some extras. Did the department heads get one? Okay. Yeah, I've got one up here. Everybody got one?
So strategic plan.
Okay.
So we had a strategic plan. It sits on our city website. In the 2 years that I've sat up here, we've never worked off of the strategic plan. We've never really utilized the strategic plan. It's a little outdated for where we are now. It talked a lot about doing things through paper. There was not really an update for any IT stuff, for social media, for kind of the platform of where we are now. The other thing with the strategic plan, so when I started here, there's no really roadmap for aldermen. So you just kind of come, you sit down, and then you start hearing about things, and you really don't know what you're hearing about. There's projects that are going on that have maybe been going on for a year, for 2 years, for 5 years, that haven't started but are in the works, aren't completed. So you really don't know where you're at either. So this kind of helps with figuring that out. There were some committees that we had discussed that would come with the strategic plan that would help to guide where we are in those processes. There's big ticket items that we have that need to be going on: the Fifth Street Road project, the Tremont project, looking at putting up a firehouse out on the west side of town. These are all things that we need to start budgeting for now, as opposed to budgeting for them when it actually, comes to fruition. So the strategic plan also kind of helps with that. Another part and another important thing with the strategic plan is grant writing. The city doesn't have a grant writer. I think it's something that we should probably look into as well. Someone should be able to look at our strategic plan and then start looking for grants. Chief Meister is looking for grants. Chief Johnson is looking for grants. I think it's great that they're looking for them and they're utilizing them, but there should be somebody else who can also look at the strategic plan and be like, this is good for the fire department, this is good for the police department, and it's not something that they do out of their day-to-day job either. So that's also a good part of it. We're doing the new city website. It utilizes the city website to also help engage the citizens. So the city website, it can help with questions that pertain directly to the city. Right now, everybody goes directly to Facebook. You get 10 answers to one question about what is really happening at the city, or what a city zoning issue is, or how the city works. You can go directly to our website. It's part of the strategic plan, to have a website that's available for people to go to ask the questions, and then someone from the city can actually, discuss it. It also engages the citizens to be part of the committees. So it engages the aldermen to also be involved in the city. One thing that we're looking at is bringing back doing workshops. We haven't done a workshop since I've been here. I mean, we meet with each other once a week and kind of talk about things, but there's no real workshop planning for things that are happening in the city and things that need to happen in the city. So the object of the strategic plan is kind of to bring the strategic plan into the next 5 years, to also engage the community and engage the aldermen in the community as well.
Yeah, I'll kind of second that. The big part of this is we want active aldermen in the city. Where you'll see throughout this, certain aldermen will be meeting with different people throughout the community, different leaders, teachers, whether it's pastors, whether it's people that run these nonprofit organizations. But we want active aldermen in the community that helps us better the community. People in Lincoln, they don't really trust the government much here because we're inactive and they don't know who to call. Now, part of that will be fixed with the new website and help interact and stuff with that, but that's a big part of it. And then just stuff like with the fire truck. He's already looking and specking out a fire truck. That's a good use of the strategic plan. We know, okay, 4 years from now that fire truck's going to do. We can save for it now. That's the type of stuff that the department heads can bring forward to us, and we can get it on the strategic plan. We start budgeting for it now.
The other thing was the Salvation Army had reached out to David and I and to the mayor about, so for them, they can grant write off of our strategic plan for the homeless shelters and for things in the community. It just has to be, we have to have a strategic plan, and there has to be parts in the strategic plan that address the homeless issue, that address transportation issues. And then from our strategic plan, other people in the community can write grants as long as it's can be tied to our strategic plan. So it's another reason why we should update the strategic plan every 5 years and have it updated and then actually be utilizing it.
Yeah. So LEAD recently did an unveiling of a strategic plan they put together. I actually have a meeting this week with another organization, strategic plan. The relationship building conversations that have gone on with the county, strategic plan. There's a theme here, right? Everybody's trying to plan and trying to get in alignment with each other, because quite honestly, we're all trying to do similar things, and this ensures that we're able to kind of clear the clutter and get focused and get more done in a more efficient manner. Like in this plan, you'll see things like economic development. I mean, economic development, it's important. I mean, we have the LDC thing coming up. That committee's getting ready to meet. Some of the things that are in there have already been talked about. Sustainable infrastructure is in here, quality of life, recreation and tourism. These are all things we're talking about. And also in this goal number 5, reduce homelessness and improve transportation. These are huge for our community. We probably hear about this stuff on a weekly basis. I saw a post about, actually got a text also over the weekend about somebody that was homeless and just needed a meal, and worked with a person on that one. And then transportation. As it stands right now, there are some public transportations, but not available for people beyond 5 o'clock. We have a transportation problem in this community, and we need to address it. So I'm excited about this plan. I will say that this is a great first draft at it. If you look in here, you'll see that city council is a responsible party for everything. We need to ensure that the alignment to the appropriate parties in here, but keep in mind, and I don't speak for Rhonda or David, but I don't think the intention tonight was, here's the final copy. This is what we want to approve. This is really to open up the dialogue and get this buttoned up. Is that fair to say? Okay. So questions, comments from the council about the strategic plan or anything you see? And you'll see some stuff in here for, like, Steve, I know you've been on the council longer than all of us, and you'll see similar things like the vision statement and the mission statements. Some of this was extracted from the old plan and just kind of tried to be brought up to speed a little bit. So it's really rebuilding on the past and then building on the future, I think, is the intent here. And we will get to the point of the committees, because as I talked about earlier, all of this work that's taking place, it really needs to be aligned in a more organized manner. It does. Council members need to have more ownership in some of these topics. It's a little chaotic at times trying to tackle all the things that we need to. And so I think Rhonda and David will probably make a recommendation to the council for a form of committee structure that can be then discussed and then tweaked and then get to a good spot on that one. Anything else to add to that, either of you? Okay. So review the plan, please, and department heads as well, and take a look at how this aligns with the conversations that you've had with Ms. O'Donohue and Mr. Sanders, and then please provide feedback to them, and we'll bring this back at a future CAL, hopefully here in the near future, correct? Okay. All right, anything else to add? Okay, thank you. Okay, that brings us down to Mr. Bounds' walk on topic. Does everybody have a copy of this? Okay.
All right, so I put the memo that I didn't get in the agenda in front of each one of you. You guys passed a very similar one last year. This is just authorizing what you've already approved in the budget for sludge, grit, spoils, disposal. Budgeted this year an amount of $160,000 in the buildings and grounds line. If you got any questions, I'd like to answer.
Questions for Mr. Bounds? Okay, place this on the regular agenda. Okay, we'll place that item on the regular agenda for you, Mr. Bounds. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, that brings us down to announcements. I've got a few here. The local 3092 5K run is this week Friday and Saturday, I believe. Saturday. They're doing a kids fun run on Friday to coincide with Third Fridays, right? Did they cancel that? Okay. So Saturday is the 5K. So if you're interested on that, on the local 3092 or the Lincoln Fire Department page and maybe on the city page, it's been promoted. If you'd still like to sign up for that, those funds go towards the Firefighters Bereavement Fund. So it's a worthy cause if you're interested in doing that. Third Fridays is this week. The theme is Kicks on Route 66. There is a form that we put out on the Third Fridays Facebook page today asking for volunteers. We need 4 more volunteers to help with the bouncy houses throughout that event. We've got the 5:30 shift covered. We need 2 people for the 6:30 and 2 people for the 7:30 shift. So if you can help with that, would be greatly appreciated. I think we have 45 plus vendors this time. So that's quite a bit. The hours for that event are 5:30 to 8:30, and we'll start doing a road closure a little bit earlier than that one. But if you can and you'd like to come out and participate in Third Fridays, please do so. Council members, if you'd like to participate or you'll be down there, Miss Bateman does have some shirts left over from past years, so get with her and she can get you a shirt if we have them. If not, we can order some. Yes. Yep.
Picnic tables, trash cans to be moved, put in place.
Yep. A lot of work to be
Kind
done
of
on
stuff
that one.
before we set up. Then you can kind of enjoy yourself unless you want to volunteer for a bouncy house. And then at the end, kind of help us pick up the trash cans and picnic tables again. So.
And Gary Osborne is the entertainment this Third Friday. So, okay. Coffee with the Mayor is on Saturday as well. I've asked Mr. Bounds and Mr. Bateman to join. So, for those of you that are new to the council, I typically I ask a department head, and it's a good idea because I think each of you who have sat in on it will attest to the fact that good questions come out pertaining to your department. I know Chief Meister, we had a really good conversation last time with that crowd. So, and then I also bring a council member with me as well. You also represent the people of our community, and I think it's good that people get out and get to know you as well. And then sometimes we'll bring in a special guest. I've brought in Andrea Runge and J.R. Glenn, chairman of the county board last time he joined us. So we'll continue to do that type of activity. So if you're interested in the future, let me know and we'll get you on a future one. We do them every 2 months. And for those who want to attend, it's at Guest House at 9 a.m. We usually go for about an hour. Sometimes we go longer. It depends on how the conversations are flowing. Also Saturday at 7:45, there is a ribbon cut for the Lincoln Memorial Hospital market, fresh market, and that is at the fairgrounds. So if you'd like to attend that ribbon cut, it's at 7:45 a.m. And then at, Steve, it's 10:30 is a ribbon cut for the new Lincoln mural that sits on the corner of Kickapoo Street and Pekin in what's called the Welcome Park. So we've had that mural up for a while. This will be the official unveiling of that mural. So if you can attend, please join us for that event as well. And then real quick, again, before I give you this update, keep in mind the Fifth Street project is fluid. Some of the things are out of our control and we're working through them, but got some good news this week, I think. And one of the last hiccups was the railroad was working through some approvals. We've been notified that they are moving forward, so we should have that wrapped up in a few weeks here, and then we should get on the IDOT letting schedule as soon as we can. Don't have hard dates on that. I'll keep you updated on those, and we'll see how things go with that project. But that's good news for our 20-plus-year-old project. Okay, that's all I had on my list. I might have missed something else, but let's do Mr. Woodhull and then Mr. Landers.
Yeah, I got some totals back. The week of April 21st, we did our electronic recycling. And once all was said and done, we had over 28 tons of electronics in general. Over four semis, 4+ semis, almost 900 individual visitors. So it was a massive success, by far the most successful in the last 5 years that we've done it. So thank you. It's up 37% from our previous high total wise. So thank you to everybody that helped. I think it was a massive success. You would think it'd go down eventually, but it's not. So, but thank you also everyone in the county that came and brought their stuff and didn't go in a landfill or dumpster or ditch or whatever. So we'll keep doing it as long as we can.
Yeah, and thank you for organizing that and for volunteering. I know some of you guys put in a lot of hours out there for filling in the gap when those of us couldn't. So thank you for doing that. Also, I think it's worth mentioning that I've been contacted by mayors of other communities who would like to know how they replicate this for their communities. So that tells me we're doing the right thing. So good job, Wes. Okay, Mr. Landers.
Yes, this Saturday, a lot of things going on Saturday.
Yeah.
So we have the city cleanup day drop-off at the Municipal Services Building. People can bring out their appliances, metals, trash, the large bulky items, furniture and things like that, mattresses. They can also drop off tires also. That goes on from 8 to 4 on Saturday.
What is not allowed?
Liquids, hazardous waste, electronics.
Okay.
We already made up for that. So, and I would have to look at the list, but that's the sum. We'll take a lot of the issues we have with construction material. We'll take small amounts of construction material, but it needs to be cut down to 5-foot lengths and bundled. We don't want people showing up with loads of shingles or someone decide to tear their shed down or the whole garage and bring it out in a trailer or a truck and expect to get rid of it. So, and it's important that people follow the guidelines that we have out there and make sure that they're educated before they just show up with something and get turned away.
Yep. Okay, thank you for bringing that up. Mr. Bateman?
So on that topic, I've had a lot of questions. It is for city residents only. We do have a lot of rental properties in this town, so if you are a tenant and you reside inside the city, you got to show an ID that you do reside in the city, and then the other stipulation is that you or your landlord has to be in good standing with GFL. So that would be the only aspects that I know of that you would be turned away, is if you personally have the trash in your name and you're not in good standing, or if your landlord has the trash in their name and they're not in good standing. Other than that, you just need to show your valid ID that you do reside inside the city. So I did have a lot of questions from tenants in this town, so I hope that clears that up.
And I will verify that they look up each account as you come in. So they will check the accounts when you come through the line. They actually have staff there at the table at the beginning that sit there and look up the accounts one by one.
Okay. Mr. Barrett?
Yeah, I just want to thank Walt and Wes for getting with I3. Walt got back with me after I asked the question. I think it was either done that day. I think was the barricade still out?
Well, the barricade was ours.
Right,
So
right. It was still
but
there.
when I went to look at it and take another pictures trying to expedite it,
It was done.
The lid was on and
I just
the barricade
assumed that it
sitting
was
there.
still needing repair because the barricade was still there.
I don't know
but-
when it was completed, but at some point it was done.
Well, thank you for keeping up on those guys. And then also thank you, Walt, there on Union Street where they were doing the sidewalks. I think they've gone back through it and taken care of that. I don't know if there's grass seed that's coming back or whatever, but looking good.
Okay. A few more things, actually. It is National Police Week, and those dates are the 11th through the 17th. So it's an opportunity to honor those firefighters we've lost in the line of duty, plus those that are serving us now, and those who are retired. So, police. Did I say police? Oh, did I say firefighters? Sorry, we did the fire last time. Thank you. They're just stealing your thunder. No, so please thank the police officers that you see this week, and please thank your department on behalf of us for all they do for our community. We're safer because of it. On that note, I haven't gone down Fifth Street since earlier today. Chief, do you want to give an update on the barricades on Fifth Street?
Yes. Unfortunately, there are some of the motoring public that are not very happy today. What we had was the water company had shut down the westbound lanes of Fifth Street near Mill, right by Sefq on Fifth, and they used proper signage that the road was closed and that there was a detour, and provided the signage for that detour route. But some folks decided that they would disobey those signs and go around the road closed signs in the westbound lane. And as we all know, Fifth Street is a busy street all day long, every day, and it was creating a safety concern. And there were multiple citations issued for disobeying a traffic control device. Due to the number of people that were doing that, we talked to the water company, and we asked them to have their contractor come back out and close both lanes of traffic down and create a detour for both directions, just to address those safety concerns.
Do we know how long that's going to be closed?
Hopefully it'll be open back up sometime tomorrow.
Okay.
We know at least 24 hours, but it should be done by tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. Yeah, good reminder to be mindful. There are people that are working, and so just be safe with those individuals. Thanks, Chief. Okay, and then the last one I'm going to bring up, it's kind of a new thing that came to our attention today, but because we're getting ready to go into Third Fridays, I think it's worth mentioning that on the corner of Kickapoo and Pulaski, you will notice there's some barricades in the downtown area, and there was I don't know if you want to call it a collapse of that part of the ramp. Walt, did you want to update us on that one and then tell us what we're doing to make that safe?
So apparently the sidewalk and the curb had got undermined on the corner there of Pulaski and Kickapoo on the Pulaski Street side. They were hanging banners, the Hometown Hero banners last Friday, and they got the edge of the truck up on there trying to reach a banner, and it collapsed. But underneath the sidewalk was a big hollow hole. We got locates called on so we can locate the utilities, see what utilities are there. So those will be due tomorrow, but there's not, they're probably not going to get anything done with it until next week. So we're still trying to evaluate what caused it, what's there, the reason, so we can get it fixed properly. So, but we will make it safe.
We're going to put a metal plate over that, correct?
That's my intentions. We'll put a steel plate on it, leave the barricades there, but we'll still put the plate so it covers the hole completely.
Okay. So just be careful if you're walking in that area, but know that we're trying to make it as safe as possible. I know the downtown's a busy area. Okay, does anybody else have an announcement they'd like to make other than that? That was a lot of good announcements. Okay, if there are no other announcements, I would like to ask for a motion to go into executive session under 2C2, collective negotiating matters, and 2C11. The memo says 2C3, but we've corrected it as 2C2.
That was in my error. The mayor asked for my advice. I told him 2C3. I checked it up later again. It was 2C2, so that is my error.
2C3 would be personnel matters. So 2C11 is litigation.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session under 2C2 and 2C11.
For a second. Alderman Downs made the motion. Alderwoman O'Donohue second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. O'Donohue?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mr. Clemens?
Yes.
Okay, going into executive session at 7:40 PM. There may be city business to follow.